We've got another new project today. It is this small servery buffet. It's got kind of an Art Deco design back here that's missing some pieces to it. This is off, but we took it off for transport. It's filthy, not even been cleaned yet. So y'all get to see it. Really nasty. Got some veneer issues back here where some's missing. And its finish is just really sad. It looks like somebody probably had some sort of cloth or mat up here, and then when it's probably gotten moisture under it, or heat. Actually, it's probably set in a window where sun hit it. It's really messed up the finish, but you can see like the little grid marks here from like a fabric or something that has gotten hot and done some heat damage to it. Has these, I don't know what these are. I'm not a big fan of these little, I don't know what the purpose of these were, because I mean, I would think that this is decorative enough. To me, it feels like this just doesn't fit with this Art Deco piece. And then a little bit of storage space inside. So if you had a small apartment or flat, small dining area, this would be a perfect little servery, or even a place to keep wine and spirits. So we'll see if we can give it another life. So now that we have this piece all cleaned up, you can see it a bit better. It's got some pretty details here, and these things, which I'm not fond of, I think they're gonna have to go away. I don't really like them. I think the first thing that we're gonna do is we're going to strip the varnish off this piece, and we're gonna take a look at this wood grain and see what can be salvaged of it. You know what? The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove these, because no matter what, I don't like them and I'm not keeping them. So we're just gonna slide this behind them, and pop them off. We're missing some big chunks of veneer here and down to here. Just quite disappointing. I'm just held on with little nails and what looks like a bit of dirt. We got those off. Got the hardware off. We've cleaned it top to bottom, bottom to top. So let's go ahead and start stripping that varnish off. So the way that we're going to strip this is we're going to use denatured alcohol, and that will remove this top layer of varnish. We can try and see what's going to happen if we just wipe it. Sometimes that's enough. It is taking a lot of it right there. I mean, that's a lot of varnish already coming off. Now I've just got a 4/0 steel wool, and I'm just gonna work on some of these little stains, like right here and here. We're gonna see if that helps that to come off. It feels like it would come off. It's almost as if this had been loosened up before, like it got hot or something. It's kind of like if you've ever made the mistake and ironed on a table and gotten it hot and kind of messed up the finish. It's kind of like that. But I have a feeling that this had something on it that was sitting in front of a window, and the sunlight just beat in there and got it too hot. Now let's take a look at this piece, and you can really see the difference of taking that old varnish off. Just really kind of makes that wood come back to life. We've got some loose veneer back here, and as I say, we're missing a piece of veneer back here. I'm not sure how much of it I can keep, but it's worth seeing what it looks like. Plus, it'll only help my paint to adhere if I do end up having to paint it, but let's see what we can do with it. And if you do this, you want to be sure to wipe that alcohol off before it dries back again, because if not, then all you're doing is just reactivating that shellac and then letting it dry again. And if you're wanting to keep original shellac on, and say it's kind of done like a gator hide thing and cracked, that's also another way that you can do that. Just use your denatured alcohol and brush it on, and then let it dry, and it'll self-level back out and reactivate the shellac, and you can keep the original shellac. Be absolutely sure to wear gloves, because this stuff will, it's really cold to touch, and it will severely dry out your skin. And be sure that your floor is protected if you're concerned about your floor. Fortunately, in my shop, I just repaint the floor every couple of months because I just cannot seem to keep the floors nice, but it's a workshop, it's expected. But for those of you who aren't fortunate enough to have space and are doing this in your dining room, which is where I started out doing it way back when, yeah, be sure to put cardboard down, and if it's thin cardboard, be sure to put 2 layers down, because it will wet it quite a bit. Now, the stains that you're seeing being removed, these are not watermarks or something like that. These are shellac stains, where the shellac has gummed up in places. So don't think that this is a way to bleach wood or anything like that, because it won't work. This is just where old shellac has been heated and then kind of pulled in a place. So that's what's going on there. If you think about it, it's quite easy to imagine how it happened. They maybe had a towel or something on this, and then probably had like a vase or a candy dish or something like that that's sitting in the window, and it heated up from the sun, and that shellac just kind of pulled where that candy dish was sitting, and then this got warm and sticky with the shellac, and it just kind of stuck that terry towel down. So just be sure that if you have antiques, that in those, be sure that those windows stay covered, you know, to preserve those finishes. Today we're going to go ahead and remove the clamps off of this piece. We had glued down a little bit of veneer here, and I've already had to remove one. But oh yeah, nice and solid, that one. A lot of missing pieces to it though, but it is nice and solid now, so we can go ahead and remove the varnish on this side and then take a look and see what we can do for it. Now, I'm quite sure there will be more veneer repairs needed. I would be stunned if I've managed to get them all at this point, but for now we're going to just get the varnish removed and then come back and take a look at it. So we finished stripping. This is what we're left with. It's got some missing veneer here, so problems here. The centerpiece though is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, so I think we can probably save this centerpiece. We'll see. The carvings at the bottom, there's nothing wrong with them. yeah, just a very interesting choice of design patterns together. The top has some veneer damage here. It's not very far in that it's lifted, but the sides, one side is pretty good. No veneer issues at all. The other side, though, has a lot. And we've already, you know, glued some of this down just so that I could clean it without pulling any more off. Right here, we also have a problem. Somebody has cracked this, and then they've put a screw through here into this part of the veneer, and you'll see that little crack there. So we're going to have a new molding made here. We can go ahead and start replacing this piece of veneer, because whether I paint this or not, I know that I would like the top not to be painted. I always prefer unpainted tops if I can do that. And on this, I think we can. And this is one of the pieces of veneer that I have pulled off of something out of my veneer stash. And it would be a great match. So we're going to use it. So I've just made us a straight line here. And we're going to cut here and remove this. Just going to put the straight edge up here. I need to get me a shorter straight edge. Now we're just going to pop that veneer off. I've already cut this side. Alright, we're going to get our tape here to make us a little template. Now, I'll be totally honest with you. If you are purchasing tape to do this, get yellow or white, because purple and red just don't show up your marks as well. Now, if this had a lot of grain to it, you would want to make sure that your grain pattern matched up pretty well, but as this doesn't really, we're just going to just put it anywhere. I like there, I think. And I'm just cutting on that line. And we're just going to cut that line. I'm doing it with the chisel, it just makes a straighter line than my hand cut. Let's go see how that fits. So there's our replacement veneer. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Make sure I got my veneer down correctly. Get it hinged in there right. Looking good. Okay, that should do. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do to the rest of the piece. I think I am going to be doing some painting on it, but we're gonna restore the top at least, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now this should be dry today, and let's just go ahead and take these clamps off. See how we did. Well, it's tempting just to take all that off in one shot, but if you do, then you may make a mistake, and slow and steady will win the race here. So we're just taking just little slivers till we get to where this needs to be. Feel a little bit there. Now I'm just going to use a scraper. And that'll take it down right where I need it. Now, I could go out to Alex's shop and he's got a thing that will do this, that's used for edge banding. And if you've got an edge band cutter, of course you already know that's probably the best thing to do. But that still gets the job done there. Go ahead and scrape that varnish off. Now, by no means am I a restoration expert. Never claimed to be. I've just learned a few little things that, you know, kind of help me to do what I need to do on these pieces. I am not here restoring pieces to their, you know, absolute high life beauty. I'm just trying to keep some stuff out of landfills and, you know, make them look pretty and give them a new life again, rather than ending up in the landfill. So, and these pieces, for some reason, you know, the current generations just don't want these heavy looking pieces. They want more color, more life. And so if you don't give that to them, then they'll just toss them in the dumpster. Now, the veneer that was used to replace this was the same veneer that we removed off of last week's video, the side of the road find, where I took the veneer off the drawers. So saving veneers that you strip off can be quite beneficial, and you know, that's a repair where I didn't have to buy anything to fix that. It's just what I had. So I highly recommend, if you redo furniture and you're removing veneers, save those veneers in a box and pull them out every now and then, and you can fix some pieces. Got a bit of a gap here. The center seems fine here, but we've got a lot of missing veneer here, and I do not have any of that. We've got a big chunk here missing, so we'll see what we can do. Another issue is the veneer on this side piece. We've got some pretty good sized chunks missing. I don't have the veneer on hand to replace that, and I'm not buying the veneer on hand to replace that. In redoing furniture, flipping it to make money, there's a ceiling price in that piece that you're working on, and you need to be aware of what that is, that no matter what you do to it, it's only going to sell for a certain amount. And if you aren't realistic and knowledgeable enough to know that, you're going to lose money. Because you can do all the fancy stuff you want, but people are only going to pay so much for a piece. And you can wait and wait and wait on the right buyer, and sometimes it's just not worth it. So if it's a piece that you can look on Facebook and you can find it again to redo it again, then chances are it's not a piece that is rare. If you can't look on Facebook and find that piece again, you need to think about what you're going to do to it. And you need to research the piece, find out when it was made, find out if you can find a manufacturer's stamp on it, things like that, and then assess whether you want to paint that piece, restore that piece, or sell that piece as is. If you can't restore it knowledgeably, then the best thing to do is to resell it to someone who can, if it is a rare antique. I stripped off the veneer from the outside of this since it could not be salvaged and I left the inside veneer because I think that can be salvaged. And what I'm going to do is I am going to paint the outside of this, do a shellac on the inside and save that nice veneer. And Alex has made the little piece that goes on the inside of the door here. I'm just going to give that a stain. And we're using Dixie Belle No Pain Gel Stain in Espresso. So, should look pretty good. Not so sure that's going to be dark enough, so I think I'm going to put that back on. Yeah, I think it's going to need a little more than that. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this piece upside down. I like doing legs first. The Dixie Belle stains are very forgiving, so, you know, if you're not comfortable using stains, this might be a good way to get into them, get started. They're very, very easy. You just put them on, wipe off that excess, and everything usually looks beautiful as long as you've prepped well. Okay, now that the stain has dried on this piece, I've turned it upside down again so that we can go ahead and shellac the parts that we've stained before we do any painting. So let's get started with that. And again, got my dauber ball, then down my shellac. Just going to go ahead and start putting that on. You can brush this on. I prefer to do it with a dauber ball. Plus, it's just fun to say dauber ball. Again, don't overwork it. Just put it on and walk away. Don't be like me, be impatient and keep messing with it, or there's just trouble in that. I'm telling you. The Dixie Belle No Pain Gel Stain does not require being sealed, but giving it a bit of extra protection is never a bad idea. And you've got to think about the piece that you're doing. If you're perhaps doing a kitchen table, you definitely want to give some protection to that because it's going to get a lot of wear and tear. So, you know, just think about the piece and how it's going to be used. Now, I did not thin this shellac. Usually I do, but on this I did not. I chose not to, so that's why I'm trying to work just a bit quicker. If you just pop your dauber ball into an airtight container, add a little denatured alcohol with it, next time that it comes out, it'll still be usable. I use the same ones over and over and over again until they get a hole in them, and then I cut a new one. I did not put stain on this piece because I knew that I was just going to go through and redo the varnish shellac on it and just try and bring back some of that wood. It's got some flaws, but nothing that's too unsightly. Okay, we're just going to put that on, leave it alone. I think it's going to make that grain come back up, and then we can just paint around here and let that really shine through. Over here where we've got this veneer that needs to be repaired, I've mixed up some Bondo on my Bondo board, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill this. That way it can go ahead and start drying and setting up. All right, pro tip. Leave your Bondo on your Bondo spreader thick, and when it dries, you can just pop it off. Easy, just like that. Okay, now that we've got shellac on most of this piece, we haven't done the very top yet. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to prime the sides of this piece because I'm going to paint this part black. And what I'm going to prime with is just some tinted 123 primer on a flock roller. And we'll put the links in the description of the products that are used, so that should you need to find it, you can do so. This is the side that we did some Bondo work, and we've sanded that off nice and flat and smooth, so we're good to go there. So let's go ahead and get these edges taped up, get some primer on here. Uh-oh, I forgot to do the top. But since that's already sealed, I can just wipe that off. Now that our primer is dry, let's go ahead and put some paint on this piece. Now this is thinned down from my sprayer, but I'm not spraying this because we're using a combination of wood and paint, and I don't want paint on my wood, so I'm gonna just roll it. It'll still come out very nice, very pretty, and very smooth with these rollers. I think the black will look nice on this piece. Nice updated look, but not overly done. I want to do something a bit different on the door on this one, because when you open it up, I want there to be like a little pretty surprise. So let's go ahead and get that started. I've scuff sanded the back of the door and wiped it down, and we're going to paint it black. I just want to get a couple coats of black on this, and then I think we'll do something pretty inside so that when you open the door, it's pretty as well. It's not required. It's just a little surprise when you open the door. What we're going to do is we're going to stencil a pretty little design on the inside of the door. Just looks nice when you open the door. And this is a stencil from Dixie Belle, and it is the Royal Damask stencil. It's quite a large stencil. It's 14 by 18, 35.5 by 45.7 centimeters. And I like this design, and I think it will go really well with this piece, considering what's on the top. I get kind of an even design because of the size. It works out quite well. So, and then I'm just going to tape this down. I don't want this to be a perfect stencil. I want it to have a bit of kind of roughness to it, where, you know, it looks like some parts got hit, some parts didn't, with, you know, the gold. So that's what we're gonna do. Be sure anytime you get a stencil to check it over, because they'll have little parts on them that didn't quite get totally removed when it was cut out. So, and I've just got a a cheap stencil brush. And I've just got my wax here, and I'm just going to kind of tap and swirl. I want some parts to have more wax, and some to have less, like it's well worn. All right, let's take a look at this and see what it looks like. Oh yeah, that's lovely. See, won't that be lovely when you open the door? Just a bit of a surprise. All right here is the repair that we did, and I have ordered some wax sticks, some wax filler sticks, and that will just blend right in there. If I get them before this video goes live, I'll let you show how I put that in. But basically, you just use heat, melt it, and then just rub over it, and it'll blend in. All right, so we're done with the repairs. Now we have this piece all sealed. I used a General Finishes 50/50 of flat and semi-gloss, and it makes a very nice low sheen. It's not too flat, it's not too glossy, and I don't think we wanted any shine on this piece. Didn't put any gold on these pieces that we added. I just didn't think that the piece really needed it. I thought it would make it just too blingy, and that's not what we're going for. But let's take a look inside. There's that beautiful stencil that we did, and I think it turned out great. It's just kind of faded in. It looks nice, not too showy, but just a little surprise when you open the door. The hardware, just done a little bit of gold. It already had the kind of silver finish, and just barely tapped a little bit of gold on it. That's really the only jewelry that this needs. I think it turned out really nice, and somebody's gonna absolutely love it. Or it'll just have to stay at my house. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found anything helpful, please remember to hit the like and subscribe button and leave us a comment. This is a pretty piece.